Louis, been stepping on coke. These sucker niggas hang theyself if you give them enough rope. Got Chanel life jackets by the stove in case it don't float. Next time they snap my brick, make sure it's a goat. Make sure it's a goat.
So welcome to the 2025 wrap-up. So I thought I would run through all my wins from this year, all my kind of losses or downs, negatives, whatever you want to call it, and give you guys a bit of an insight of where we are going to be looking at in 2026 as well. So I'd say one of the biggest changes for me this year was my business was changing. You know, I decided to have a complete rebrand, completely changed the image, the look, everything about it, you know, and right now I feel a lot more professional with what I stand for with my business. It looks a lot more professional as well, and the feedback I've been given as well has been great about it. So yes, it was quite sad I did lose my old original business name and what I stood for, what I built it up to. It's now time for a new change, and it will only create a better direction going in things, and what people will see now from that business is something professional, something that will stand in with all the rest of the coaches, all the rest of those other people in the higher levels, and that's obviously where I want to aim for with my business. Now, another thing I'd say is that I've spent a good year, you know, learning my body to full potential. You know, we haven't really pushed off-season too hard. You know, we've kept in a nice surplus, still gaining new tissue, still progressing the gym. You know, everything has been at a very, very good rate. So I couldn't be happier and prouder with that. Now, something else I'm proud of for this year is having definitely one of my best looks from a client competing this year. From Sam, my client, we competed twice. And out of both those shows, we gave two very, very nice looks. One was definitely a bit more tighter than the other, as that's what they requested. But you know, we definitely climbed a massive hill with this prep as well. You know, we lost 70 pounds the whole time, you know, and for them to say, you know, we need a bit more condition, but they were happy with the muscle, was a massive win. So I was actually really happy with that. Now, coming on to the negatives, which, you know, we shouldn't always look back on the negatives, but I think it's still important to speak about them. Now, this year definitely tested me. I definitely had some bad times on the mental side of things, you know, some rough kind of weeks, but it's going to happen to everyone, and I wanted to speak about this, not going to go fully in depth about what went on or anything like that around the time, or, you know, what occurred with it all, but just to say that, you know, yes, okay, my Instagram does look good and, you know, it looks all happy and dandy, but 9 times out of 10, you know, there is other stuff going on with people's lives, so always kind of speak to people, ask again if they're okay. You'll always catch me saying to people, how you doing, man? And then I'll ask them again, how they're doing. You know, that will really create a better answer for you moving forward. So yeah, I've learned from that as well. And from that as well, which I could take into a positive, is that I've learned to focus on myself a bit more. You know, it's like, for example, this year I had a sty in my eye. I had it for like, about 12 weeks, because I was focused on my clients so much. I just kind of lost sight of that at all, just forgot about it. And that's quite bad to take away from myself to focus on clients, but then my health is getting affected. So that's what I'm going to focus on next year, is my health and getting things properly in order. And going into next year as well with my business and myself, I feel a lot stronger, a lot more confident in myself as well and what I do. And I can only just keep on growing from there and keep on moving forward. And now we look into 2026. Now I'm very excited about this. So I'm looking at competing myself. I'm going to be releasing a photo shoot in the next coming year, in the first week. There's only so many people on it so far, but I am going to open up for a couple more spaces. I've got a female doing a photo shoot next year. I've got 3 lads competing next year, will be the most I've ever had in 1 year, so very, very excited about that. So it's going to be a very big year for me, very exciting, very productive, and this is where I live and breathe. I peaked a client this week for some photos, and on one of the days I had 2 consultations and I had to peak him at the same time within the space of like 2 hours, and I loved it. I step away from that, and yes, I'm knackered, yes, I'm tired, but I walk away with fulfillment, and this is why I kind of enjoy the gym, enjoy coaching, because you get fulfillment out of helping others, and seeing them come out the other side and, be probably the best version they've ever seen of themselves. And that's all I want, the best version to come out of everyone. But other than that is the end of the wrap up for 2026. Very excited for the new year. Obviously, going to bring you guys along the whole way. I've got my camera guy, Luke, now along the whole process for the year. So we're very excited for you guys to see behind the scenes around it all. I'm going to be vlogging myself as well on the personal level, so we can capture 2 kind of tones of view, if you want to call it that. So you can get to know me personally as well, and you may see me as the hardcore bodybuilder, but there's a lot more that goes on behind me and my life, and my dog, of course. But other than that, guys, I'll see you in the new year. Subscribe, and I will see you in 2026.